People often find meaning in the things that they create. It's the physical things that we put into the world. It's the objects. It's why Apple is so valuable, right? It's not the software they write, which is pretty great, but it's the fact that you use their devices. They're in your hands. They're on your desktops. They're in your pockets. They're on your wrists. That is why Apple has created so much value out in the world. That's why Amazon is so valuable. It's not that their software is great, it's that they're more effective because of it, of getting the things that people buy into your house or shipped across the world now at this point, right? So it's the physical things that people find value in. It's the physical things that often creates a lot of meaning and purpose in someone's life. Start your week great. Start your week with a coach. I'm your host, certified high performance coach, Sean Butner, and we're going to talk about something that'll help you advance in your life this week. So let's go. Hey, welcome to the third video of the Welcome to the third video of the Meaningful Revolution. And last time we talked about having a commitment to act, and that the fact that you're doing things creates meaning for a lot of people. It's one of the 5 areas that we find meaning in. Today, we're talking about what you should be doing, actually. It's creating things that are tangible. It's creating food, creating art, creating music, creating physical objects, tables, chairs, that kind of stuff. The things that we can put out into the world and see our progress and share as gifts or provide use for others is a very deeply meaningful thing, and it's been a very deep meaningful thing for pretty much human history, in my opinion. So, okay, it's why I think a lot of people go into the trades, right? Like my father was a carpenter. He loved to do maintenance. I would help him out on like side jobs growing up, and there is a sense of pride in seeing something that's broken and being able to repair it, and then see your work and how awesome it is afterwards. Or hopefully that's awesome, right? Hopefully you're skilled enough to make that awesome. But there's also in just creating art, in creating music, right? Which isn't really a physical thing, but it is a connective thing when you're doing it with people. And if you can create a CD, if you can create an album, if you can share that with people in a physical format, I have found in my personal experience is very, very meaningful. So, how do we then reconcile that with a world that's gone more digital, right? So instead of books, like the books on the bookshelf behind me, we have PDFs, we have online videos like this, like you guys are watching. We have a lot of these intangible things that, when I was in software, it's a perfect example where you could do a lot of work, and at the end of the day, you're still looking at the same computer, right? You have to put in some extra effort to see the impact that has out in the world, where if you built a chair, you have a chair that you could then sit in, and that's how you can measure your progress there. So it's this idea of how do we get back to, I don't want to be the person that's like, we need to go back to analog, but I think we need some more intention on seeing the impact of those intangible things in life and really realizing that it does impact people. So I think it's really easy to be an anonymous face on the internet that, where you have a code name or handle or whatever, whatever they call it now. That sounds so old. But anyways, so you have a username that isn't your name, that you could be a jerk. You could be mean to people online. It kind of gets into the community aspect of when you don't have to worry about disappointing people or people physically beating you up. You might do something kind of crazy, but that's another video for another time. So I have 5 habits for you on how to really get into creating things that are meaningful for you or purposeful for you. They're just 5 ideas to kind of follow as you're thinking through this for yourself, because ultimately the question is, what are the physical things that you make each and every day, each and every week, each and every month? Now, for most people, you're at least gonna have some connection with food, so hopefully you're making your own stuff. You know, if you like bread or cookies or whatever you'd make for dinner or lunch or whatever, like that's a very, very easy thing to start with and the easy thing to improve because we do it, 2 to 3 times a day, here in the US at least. So, okay, so anyways, I'm kind of rambling. Here are the 5 things to keep in mind as you're trying to find that meaning, that extra purpose, that extra, zest from life from making things around you. First point is from Don't Try This, who's the guy from Mythbusters online. Adam Savage. I was going to say Jamie, and I know that was wrong. But he said something that I think about quite often, and that is to create the things that you love. So if you really love wheat bread, learn how to make an amazing loaf of wheat bread. If you really love, in his case, like you really love like Star Wars stuff, maybe you'll make your own lightsaber, because he gets into like the machining and the prop making aspect of it, which is fascinating and a skill that I don't have, but I can appreciate. So it's basically just nerding out on stuff that you use all the time. Like if you have a thing for candles, like learn how to make candles. Like how do you make the things that you use in your daily life? That's a really good, easy way to say like, what is really gonna make me feel like connected to the output that I'm doing. So that's a good thing to check out. It's what do you use every day, or what is something that you absolutely really love to do. That's why I do music. I love music. I love listening to music. I love playing music. And it's usually just for me. Like I don't go out and perform anymore, but I still write songs, and I think it's really fulfilling for me, right? When I can sit down and work on the guitar for 30 minutes, it's amazing. So, what are those things in your life? If you could write down 3 things that you use every day that you love, that you think would be really cool if you could figure out how to make yourself, that's a good starting point. And that will be worth watching this video, right? But I got some more, right? So what are some other areas of creation? I hinted at this before, but second thing is to create art, right? It's a way to deal with emotions, and it's a way to, maybe get skills that you don't necessarily find in your day-to-day job. So if you're like with software, right? For me, another appeal for music is it worked on a different part of my brain. So it was less analytical, it was more kind of in the moment, it was more feeling based, it was more, within the heart. And so that was a way to kind of switch my focus in a way to not be so analytical. That's probably the best way to describe it. But, so art is a really great thing. And it doesn't have to be like Picasso's, it doesn't have to be paintings or oil, stuff. It could be music, it could just be like, I have a friend that does macrame, and it started selling it at stores for fun, just to see if she could do it, and that's really amazing, and I'm really, impressed by it. But it started out, she's just like, I just thought this was really cool, and it is cool, and it's a little strange, but I love it. So, what are those types of things that you can physically create that are just like art projects, right? Third thing to do is, to create things that you can give to people as gifts, right? It's kind of like your signature card, like calling card. So I'm a big nerd, and I still am in contact with my friends from high school. We play Dungeons and Dragons all the time. And one of my oldest friends recently got into dice making. So he's gone kind of crazy with it. It kind of sounds like a chemist who's talking about mixing compounds and stuff and resins. He modified a pressure cooker to push out all the bubbles in the resin, heats it up, and he's got it all dialed in. He's consistently learning some new skills that are not really relevant to what he does for his day job, which is teaching. He's an English teacher. So that kind of obsession, and the passion behind it's really fun. But he's now creating sets of dice for everyone around him, right? Students and people that have actually probably use it for sure. Like our friend group, we do the D&D stuff. But ultimately, like, it's a way for him to kind of add and give to the community. So, which is another aspect of finding meaning, right? Is how are you connecting with others? And he's using this interest and this, these physical products as a way to, give to the people around him. So I thought that was a kind of cool story. But what are some things that you can do? And like, again, food is another great thing. Every Christmas I make hot sauce to give to people because I love hot sauce, and it's been really fun figuring out how to like ferment it and not kill people. Salmonella is terrible, but I digress. But so hot sauce, cookies, things of that nature, pretty good. Okay. The fourth thing to keep in mind as you're creating physical things is to track your progress, right? So if you're like, I'm going to make my first set of hot sauce, right? I'll write down the recipe, do a little bit of journaling after it's all complete to kind of figure out how it turned out. And then a year later, do it again and see what's different, or see like, oh man, I learned that these ingredients work really well together. I need to focus on that more, etc., etc. So creating physical things, like if you're creating furniture, the first chair that you've ever made and the 100th chair that you've ever made is going to be completely different. And so, being able to see that progress can help us feel like we're improving, that we're progressing, and that's part of being a high performer. That's part of just feeling a sense of momentum in your life. So definitely check that out. And then the fifth thing to keep in mind as you're doing all this and creating things is just have fun and try your best, right? If you're giving it your all and you're consistently giving it your all, you will see that improvement. You'll get addicted to making things. And I think ultimately we need more of this like craftsmanship, more of this type of doing things and pushing ourselves to learn new skills in order to feel, I want to say complete, but to feel connected, to feel like we're making a difference, we're leaving an impact in the world, and that's very important. So, creating things in the physical world helps us connect our actions to the world, essentially, right? That's where I think we really find the meaning, that, when you are done, you've changed your environment, you've changed, how people feel, you change how, you think and feel about yourself. And that's where I think there's a lot of meaning here. So, with that said, guys, that's the video for this week. Next week, we're going to be talking about relationships, right? So we need to make sure that we're leading our communities for the next part of this framework we talked about a couple videos ago. So I know you'll love it. I know I'm really excited doing these for you guys. So we'll see you next week. Go out there, live with more joy, more personal growth, and more impact in your communities. And we'll see you in a week or so. Okay, guys.